Hello, this is Create at the Library Book Folding Fun. For this project, you just need a few simple materials and supplies. You'll need a pencil, a metric ruler, a hardback book around 8 to 9 inches tall, and if you have one, a folding tool is helpful. Now, for the ruler, you'll notice that a ruler you have at home might have metric on one side and then the standard measurement system on the other. So take a look at your rulers. Step 1 will be to find the page to start folding. So you'll take the last even page in your book and divide that number by 2. That's the number of paper sheets that's in your book. Then you'll subtract the number of sheets to be folded from this number. So for this pattern, it's 40. All patterns have a different number of sheets to be folded. So you'll now have the starting page for the pattern. Mark that page with a clip or a sticky note or piece of paper. Note that if the number is even, you'll need to add 1 to it because the starting page has to be an odd number. So for my example, my book has 384 pages. You take that number and divide it by 2, that's 192. Then subtract 40, that's the number of pages this pattern needs. That equals 152, but since it needs to be odd, I add 1. For my book, I start on page 153. Okay, here's our measurement chart. Each pattern has a different chart of numbers, and for the simple heart pattern, we only have 40 pages to fold, which is a small number compared to some patterns. But on each pattern, page 0 is your starting page that we determined earlier. So you'll be making 2 marks on each page without moving the ruler, and I'll explain a little bit more in a moment about that. If you want to print this page off, it would be helpful because you can cross off your progress as you go so you don't get confused as to what point you're at in your pattern. If you look at this pattern and think, oh my gosh, so many numbers, what do they all mean? Don't let it worry you. Just give it a try. It's pretty easy, and especially with a simple pattern like this. So to start making your marks, we're going to place our book in front of us as though we were going to read it, and then turn it sideways so that you're looking at the spine like this picture shows, and open it to that page that you determined to be your start page. Then you'll take your ruler and line it up against the left edge, which is actually the top of the book, but we'll call it the left edge for now. Line it up on the 0, and then keep it in that position, but you'll need to back it away from the edge of the pages a little bit so that you have room to make your mark. About 1/8 of an inch should do it. So find your first measurement and make your first mark. If you're not used to using the metric ruler, here's a few little tips for you. So the middle mark is the 0.5 mark. So let's say you need a measurement that's 7.7, you could just think, okay, the middle mark is 0.5, so I just need to go over 2 lines. And that makes it easier than counting all those little marks. Okay, so don't pick up your ruler yet after you've made your first mark. Find your second mark for page 0 and make the mark at that point without picking up your ruler. So in this photo, I wasn't on page 0, but you can see that you make the 2 marks on the same page, and hopefully you can tell that these markings are at 6.4 and 10.8. So you want to mark the first page, turn it, and find the measurements for page 2, mark both those measurements, and continue marking for all 40 pages. When you're done, you might notice that on the edge of your book you have sort of a vague heart shape, and you can see how it works a little bit. Okay, step 3. Now it's time to start folding. Turn the book toward you so that you have the marks right in front of you, and fold each page exactly on those marks. One nice thing is you can use the type to keep your folds at a 90-degree angle. So if you see your lines of type, you can kind of use those as guides. Another helpful thing that I discovered is if you use your ruler as a guide, it will help you turn the page right at that mark, and it will also help you with lining it up along the type if you extend your ruler out across the page and keep it straight. If you have a folding tool, you can use it now to make your folds crisp. Fold all of your marked pages. And that's it. Stand your book up and admire your beautiful heart. Now that you know the basics, you can try out some more patterns. Below are a few sources that have free patterns to inspire you to try a new one. Folded Book Art, Fold Your Own Book, and Bookami. I hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you for creating with the Everett Public Library.